What's up, guys? My name is Austin Shuttler. I am a licensed doctor of physical therapy and yoga instructor located here in California, San Diego. And I am the founder of Awakening Wellness. This is basically an online and in-person business program that I have established to utilize my services and offerings and help those throughout the world as best I can with the knowledge and the wisdom that I have learned so far in my life. With this Awakening Wellness program, there's basically three main pillars to help the clients or individuals get to wherever they need to get to in life. So the first main pillar that we like to focus on with Awakening Wellness is holistic practices and holistic wellness. And this basically incorporates looking at the entire being, the entire person, to unify the mind, body, and spirit. Okay, so that's the first main pillar, is focusing on holistic medicine and holistic practices. The second main pillar is movement medicine. So being a doctor of physical therapy and yoga instructor, I like to utilize movement as medicine because everything in life is energy, right? Everything is moving in some form of kinetic energy. So this movement medicine is going to allow you to heal the body and to move through not only the physical body of matter, but also the subtle and energetic body. Okay, so a big component in yoga is learning about the energetic body that exists within us. And in Eastern practices and medicines, you talk about the meridians and the nadi channels, which is a part of that energy system that exists within each one of us. So movement allows us to kind of work with that energy, that subtle body, and that flow of prana or chi, and connecting that in yoga with the breath and pranayama techniques, we're able to establish this healing modality within our practice. The third pillar in Awakening Wellness is going to be a mindful approach. And there's a couple different ways that I like to integrate this mindful approach into life and into the journey of, living. And one of those main ways is through meditation. And on my online website, I will be posting, and you can find access to different meditations, which are guided, to help give you or maybe establish a sense of peace, or to help you get whatever you need to get out of the practice. So meditation is one of those main ways to dive into this mindful approach. Another one of the main components through this mindful approach, this final pillar with Awakening Wellness, is to establish this sense of awareness and mindfulness in our daily life, not just in meditation or not just in yoga, but in our everyday habits that we have in the external world. Right? Integrating that mindfulness and awareness in going to the store, in talking to our coworkers at our job, in our business, right? Becoming aware of what we're doing and why we're doing these things in life establishes that sense of intention and just being mindful of what's going on. So joining me and Awakening Wellness, we will integrate this practice of holistic wellness and movement medicine and this mindfulness approach through the utilization of yoga, of pranayama, right, which is breath. And establishing this will lead us into the mission that I have for Awakening Wellness, and that is to utilize my personal rehab and wellness experience to improve and enhance the lives of individuals by unifying the mind, body, and spirit. And that is the mission that I work towards, and realize that that is a part of my dharma and my path in this lifetime. So I am a licensed yoga instructor, only beginning the yoga process. I've only been teaching and instructing yoga for the past year. And initially, I got into the practice of yoga more so for the benefits of mobility and flexibility and kind of like dynamic strength training through these different poses and asanas, right? And a lot of people get into yoga for those reasons and those purposes in life, and that's mainly what drew me to the practice. But I would be lying if I didn't say that somewhere, deeply inside of me, I felt this intuition, this draw towards it, right? Because I could do physical therapy and exercises and different things like that, working on mobility and flexibility. But there was something inward that was kind of like pulling me or magnetizing me towards this practice of yoga. So I ended up getting my yoga teacher training last year in 2022. And going through that whole process, I was really able to see how much more is really behind yoga, right? And a lot of people say yoga and we think of just doing these movements and exercise, right? Which is one component of the yoga practice and philosophy. The physical practice, the asanas, are actually just one of 8 components in yoga, which is identified by Patanjali, who established the 8 limbs of yoga. And I'm not going to go deeply into all of those, but for me, going through the yoga teacher training and being able to realize and understand that there is so much more to dive into, and it has allowed me to, number one, dive deeper into knowing about myself, but also understanding how I relate to the world, right? And understanding other people. So what brings me the most joy about this practice? Overall, just working in the health and wellness industry and becoming a yoga instructor, I have realized that this is truly a part of my path. And when you're doing certain things in life, you just feel in this flow state, right? Like it's just happening. And it's that pure bliss, that joy that you feel when you're just fully diving in and experiencing it for what it is. You're not even thinking about what's going on. It's not happiness, right? It's beyond happiness. It's beyond emotion. And you can sense that when you're fully into that moment. So just being in service to others and offering what I have to the world allows me to find and encapsulate that sense of bliss, that sense of Satchitananda. So my hope is that you come into this practice, or maybe you just, get introduced to Awakening Wellness or introduced to me, and you don't just judge it or criticize it for what it is, utilizing yoga and breath work in these different holistic healing modalities. And instead of that egoic monkey mind of just judging or criticizing, maybe experience it for yourself and come into the practice with openness and get ready for the journey.